We've got a statewide law cracks down on demolition of historic buildings in response to St. Augustine's push. A Victorian home torn down in St. Augustine is now at the heart of a new statewide law aimed at protecting Florida's historic structures. Governor Ron DeSantis has signed legislation that increases penalties for the illegal demolition of historic buildings. Under the new law, the fine jumps from just $5,000 to 20% of the property's assessed value, a change driven by local leaders in St. Augustine who say previous penalties lacked consequences. The push follows the demolition of an 1888 Victorian home on Bridge Street last summer. While the demolition was permitted, it sparked public outcry and renewed calls for stronger preservation measures. There's the house there. Mm-hmm. City Attorney Isabel Lopez helped to lead the charge for change, saying this new law gives communities more power to protect these stories. St. Augustine is home to more than 3,500 historic structures, including 22 buildings dating back to the first Spanish period. City leaders say the law is a turning point, not just for the nation's oldest city, but for preservation efforts across Florida. Lopez added that the bill will discourage rushed demolitions by making owners think twice before tearing down historic properties. Supporters say the law could also unlock economic opportunities like converting historic homes into boutique inns or Airbnbs, bringing both tourists and revenue. This is St. Augustine, Lopez said. We're the heart of Florida's history. It's time our laws reflect that.
All right, this Bridge Street house, just so we're clear, it didn't just get knocked down.
Yeah.
I mean, it was structurally not sound. It was up on the street. If it had fallen into the street, it would have been a dangerous situation.
Yep.
So I know they're using this as a model. A lot of people got mad about it, but there was a structural engineer who went in there. I think there might have been 2 structural engineers who went in there and said, we can't save this house.
Yeah.
The building official, if he goes against the structural engineer at that time and something happens with the house, then he's liable.
Yeah.
So, because that guy has the stamp.
Mm-hmm.
So, the building official took a lot of abuse over this that wasn't rightfully in his position. He was unjustly attacked.
Yeah.
So, I want to save all these buildings, and I think you do have to go through the process, and sometimes the process is a pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. But, we live in a historic house, and there's problems.
Yeah.
There's problems, but it's part of the commitment when you buy a historic house. When you buy a historic house, you're married to that historic house. It's not, welcome to the money pit.
Yeah.
So, but I mean,
great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Shelley Long.
Yeah. Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Which was better, that one or Joe versus the volcano?
Money pit, 100%.
Money pit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
100%.
Sometimes I have a brain cloud and just want to go away. So
yeah. Same.
Sometimes I kind of wish I was Joe versus the volcano.
Yeah.
But I mean, in this situation, and I like this. I like the bill. And it's on personal structures and on commercial structures also.
Yeah. So this house
we have a couple of those that I manage.
Yeah. So this house was demolished rightfully as per all of the data. Everything went through. It's always tragic to see a historic house taken down. We would much rather them be saved, but if it can't be saved, it can't be saved.
Yeah. No, it's unfortunate because the people that sit on the harb have to make a decision without really laying eyes inside the property and some of those things. Mm-hmm. And, there's certain things that just can't be saved.
Yeah.
And it has to have some flexibility in the process.
Yeah. 100%.
Gotcha.
All right. Moving in.